Alright, so we're going to jump around a bunch in this video. It's going to be very fast, and I'm going to try and hold us on course as best as I can. You can see I'm working on the piece here, but you can also see that I've slimmed it down using the Harbor Freight carving disc. It's really an aggressive disc for the grinder, which I'll show you here in just a moment. The piece, the design changed just a little bit. Wanted to make it a little thinner. And so it's really easy to remove all that material with that Harbor Freight disc. So I'm going to go ahead here and put on a sanding disc and try and remove some of those scratches. Just as a side note, once these are finished with polyurethane, walnut's always beautiful, really is. Even the not greatest grade walnut, even like what I'm using here. So I run the sander here for just a little bit, trying to remove these scratches. This is using 150 grit, and that's a lot of deep scratches and some very hard wood, and so this is a lot of time doing this part. Now, carving in itself takes a lot of time, yes, but as much as you can, you want to remove all of your time obstacles, and sanding with 150 is definitely a time obstacle. This footage is actually several different days of me sanding and working and shaping until I feel that they're right. You can see here, this is where I'm using that shaping disc from Harbor Freight with my angle grinder from Harbor Freight. I end up actually just doing a little bit more shaping here with the top, opening it up just a little bit. But this is also where I shaved off the sides. I have to apologize for the color on this video. I have both my fluorescent lights on and the door to the shop open, so I have sunlight and fluorescent, and the camera has no idea how to handle it. So, work on the top of that just a little bit there. Sand on the inside after I've taken off and opened up that area. There were some really deep scratches in there. Took forever to sand that smooth. Do a little more design work on this a little bit later. It's not completely finished, but again, once you actually do put your polyurethane on there, it looks a whole lot better. Seeing the grain of the walnut looks a lot more like a tree. It's just so powdery and light looking here. It's hard to get a great idea for what it is you've finished and what you're carving. It's a different piece. This is one that had an actual knot hole already in it, and so I figured I would use that. Didn't work out as well as I was hoping. But you can see I've also used the Harbor Freight carving disc on the sides there to take down the sharp parts so that I can make it a round log. And in some ways I wish I had left a little bit more than that for that knot hole, but it ends up working out in the end, as they always do. Somebody once said your art projects are really never done, you just give up finally. And I guess that's what I end up doing there. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to match the grain and how it curves around there, and so that's what I end up doing, is taking a look and just starting. Again, these are dangerous tools, so use a short stroke whenever you can. I haven't gouged myself yet, knock on my desk, but just short strokes is the best way to go, especially if you're pushing hard. Some of these strokes I'm pushing kind of hard, and you have to go slow. Pretty sure I add another knot hole in here just because I want to add just a little bit more design to it. So here I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to work it. And I think that's where I'm going to put my knot hole. So you have to make sure you leave as much material as you can, and so you have to plan ahead. I think that's where I leave it. And there's the knot hole in there. I just don't know what to think. So I just work on the edges, smoothing things out. Again, making it so that you like what it is you're doing and what the end product ends up being. And as you can see, there's a ton of sawdust there. I've been carving for a while, and just makes a mess. Now, you've seen me carving on these pieces for about 4 videos now, so more carving on the same pieces is not 100% necessary. I do put, as I get exasperated and stop for a second, do some cleanup, and clean my pieces here. And just start sanding again and finishing up the shapes. Clean my glasses. More sanding. And create my 80 grit sanding disc and go back to work. Great for shaping, those 80 grit sanding discs are. New piece. I cut it on the bandsaw to open that area up. Save myself a little bit of carving. More sanding, different piece. I'm carving in some growth rings here on the top. Wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with it. I didn't put them in there too deep, just light enough to show that, and so once they're finished they'll show a little better. And then I start creating the big knot hole on a different piece. Ends up looking like Easter Island. More cleanup. Back to this piece. Sometimes you have to let them percolate in your head. I can show a little bit later where I started that knot hole, but when you branch off like that, it's hard to sand in those areas. So using the turning sanding discs, the strips, that works out a little bit better. But you see, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put that knot hole here, and again, you have to leave enough material to put your knot hole and everything else you're going to need, so sometimes you need to think ahead for that one. As you can see, I just put it there on the edge where the most material was left, and that way I can just remove material from around the edges. So again, short strokes. You're using, got that. I think that was a late night. A lot of sand. Next day, actually, I'm just finishing touches on some of the damage for the cracks there. sure it came from wind damage, and I'm probably trying to figure out, a storm came, or somebody built a swing on it and maybe it rotted. I don't know, something. But anyways, it tore loose. A little bit of violence. Gotta show some good scarring. Just adds a little bit of interest to the piece. I'm going to put all the pieces together here before they're finished, and then I'm going to show you here in just a second, what they look like with the polyurethane on them. But that's how they look non-finished. And here they look finished. This is only part of the project. So the legs are done. I just need to do the platform that the monitors are going to stand on. So we'll do that in a different construction video. When the construction video is complete, I will put it up on the site and we'll have a complete project. Keep watching.